probably going to see your guide use. They don't buy flies usually because they're too damn expensive, and they don't tie really complicated things because it takes too long. So what you're going to need for this is some streamer hair. Streamer hair is something that I don't often use. This is kind of a special example. It's kind of hard to work with in other applications, but it works very well for this fly. Don't really have a name for it. We'll just call it Redfish Guide Fly. We're going to use some extra select craft fur. This is very commonly used. Use it a lot for crab flies and shrimp flies, things like that. We're going to be using some purple crystal flash, and we will use really any 1/0 hook. That's my favorite for this fly. We'll be using some black 210 denier thread on a bobbin. You'll need, of course, your whip finisher or your fingers, a pair of scissors, and you'll want a dubbing spinner. We're going to be doing something a little bit different here. I'll do my best to show you the process. Don't forget your Clear Cure glue or whatever you want to use to seal up the top of your fly. And if you're using Clear Cure, you're going to have to use your flashlight as well, your UV light. You're also going to use a purple Sharpie. So let's get started. So to start this fly, it's fairly simple. It really is. This is why guide flies are so important to the fly tyer. Once you get into this, you're really just going to wrap your thread to the back. You really don't even have to go all the way to the back. I don't even wrap thick thread all the way through it. It's not uniform all the way across. It's just to get you there. What you're going to do is you're going to take this streamer hair. Streamer, like I said, it's hard to work with. You got a patch about 2 inches by 3 inches, and you're going to take a fairly large chunk out of it. What I like to do is get my scissors and throw them into the hair, if I can, and try and separate it. Because what I need is a nice long piece of fur, basically. So what I'm looking for with this is kind of what I want my tip to look like. So if I want the tip to be super thick, I know that I have to have more of this. So I don't need it to be super thick. I probably need it to be about half as much. So I'll split this. I see my tip is, as thick as I want it. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut what's probably the equivalent of half a square inch. You can see that. So I'm going to pull apart the bottom. So like we did on our Clouser minnow, we're going to pinch about halfway down, and we're going to try and relieve ourselves of the excess fur. Alright, and get a whole bunch out of there. So now I want to see how long I want my fly. I don't want it too long, probably back to the, I like to mark it kind of with the spring on my vise, how long I want it. I'll go ahead and pull out the longer hairs. Keep it thick enough as we come back, perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the excess end off just as straight as I can get it, and I'm going to capture this onto the hook. A couple of loose wraps just to get it started, and then start to buckle down on it. So tighten this down really good. and I like to put a couple of under wraps under it, and this under wrap keeps it from wrapping around the hook as you cast it. So if you just wrap it under here half a dozen times or so, this should keep it from wrapping around the hook as you cast. Perfect. Now, this is the last step, but it's a little bit complicated. What you're going to do is you're going to take your thread and you're going to make a loop out of it. So now that I've made a loop out of it, I'm going to cross under the loop with my bobbin, and now I've captured my loop. I'm going to take my dubbing spinner, put it on my loop, and I actually hang it over the back of my vise. The Renzetti vise has a nice little knob right here that's pretty convenient. What you're going to do next is you're going to take your craft fur, you're going to put your scissors through it just like we did on the other hair. You're going to separate it like so. Once you have it separated, you're going to grab the ends, and with the ends in your hand you're going to cut all the way across using the base. Now what you want to do with that is actually what I've already done. You're going to cut it down to be about an inch across. You can see I've cut it down to be about an inch across, and I've gone ahead and gotten my crystal flash in purple and cut it down to about the same length and spread it on top of it. So with that crystal flash spread on top of it, I now have a dubbing brush. Now you can go buy a dubbing brush, but they're expensive and it's just being lazy. So with my new dubbing brush that I've made, I'm going to put it into the loop that I've created, like so. So now that I have it in my loop, I can kind of work with it a little bit. I want to work it up as high as I can towards the hook. So it's all worked up in my loop, all the way up to the hook, spread out just a little bit. Just a little bit. We have crystal flash in there, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pinch the bottom of it. So pinching the bottom of it allows you to keep everything in place while you rotate your dubbing spinner. So you just spin this thing up, and you'll see here in a second what that does, but you'll spin it all the way. And what I like to do is I like to spin it, and then I like to release my hold on the brush and pull down, and then I like to work the fibers a little bit to get them to stick back out like they should be. And as you can see, you have a very bushy, brushy looking amount of hair, and so you're going to wrap this around the hook. So as you're wrapping, what you're going to do is you're going to pull it backwards. Keep pulling it. You're going to keep working this hair, and as you keep working it, you're going to work it up as you get closer to the tip of the hook, not the tip, sorry, the eye. You're going to keep pushing it back, make sure that nothing's getting bent over and captured in there in a way that it's not supposed to be. We're just going to keep doing this all the way until we're out. Alright, and so now all I have left is the string, or I'm sorry, my thread. And now that I've captured my thread, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my thread. Make sure you don't cut the thread that you're wrapping with, but cut the dubbing brush thread. I'm going to make sure that I have a very good amount of thread on here. I'm going to wrap it all the way to the front. Golly, allergies are killing me. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple of twists with the whip finisher. Cut off the thread, and you're practically done. So you'll have a few loose hairs that'll come out of here. You might as well just pull them out. It's not a big deal. What you're going to want to do next is color a few stripes on your white tail. Just to give it some character. You can add more crystal flash in this if you like. It's not mandatory, but it is. If you're in murkier water or it's a nice sunny day, you may add some crystal flash along with the white streamer hair. All you have to do now is use whatever coat you're going to use over the top of the hook. This is one of my favorite redfish flies. It casts very, very, very well. Once you're done with the fly, you're gonna be able to fish this pretty much anywhere on the Texas, Louisiana coast. I love it. It works very well. Like I said, I caught a massive redfish. You can see it on my Instagram. I caught a massive redfish on one of these. Obviously Captain Greg Moon gave me that opportunity, but this was the fly that did it, and he did a great job tying his, and so I kind of stole his idea. If you ever get to Louisiana, he is your man. Don't take my dates away from me, because I'm going to try and get back out there with him, but give him a shout. He's amazing. Get out there, good luck, try and get some reds.